2 hours before the wedding ceremony, my fiancé, Michael, suddenly became unreachable. Everyone was frantically trying to contact him, and some of our friends even went to his house to look for him, but no one had any clue where he was. A few friends who had connections at the police station offered their help and were discussing various ideas. "No need," I said softly, raising my head to look at my reflection in the mirror. Today was indeed a very important day for me. I'd custom ordered my wedding dress half a year in advance, started extensive skincare routines a month ago, and even went to bed at 9 o'clock last night, though I couldn't fall asleep at all. Ever since I was a little girl, I'd dreamed about how I'd look wearing a wedding dress on my special day. But now that the day had actually arrived, I felt an indescribable emotion. Outside, many guests had already shown up. Where the hell did Michael go? My best friend cursed anxiously, unable to contain herself. Everyone in the room exchanged worried glances. "I know where he is," I said quietly, drawing everyone's gaze to me. I opened my phone screen, which was displaying the ongoing Star Gala Awards ceremony. On the broadcast, rising actress Emily was the favorite to win Best Supporting Actress today. And among the bustling crowd at that event, I spotted the man who was supposed to be marrying me today, my fiancé, Michael. He had chosen to attend his ex-girlfriend's award ceremony, even willing to miss his own wedding. The room fell into a heavy silence as everyone struggled to control their expressions. Then my best friend angrily smashed a glass onto the floor. "My family sponsored that damn award ceremony. I'm calling my dad right now to cancel it," she shouted furiously. "No need," I responded calmly. "Even if the ceremony didn't happen, Michael would still leave. He's already made his choice." Outside, many guests had gathered, and a camera was specifically filming the scene, streaming it directly to me. At first glance, I noticed a man quietly sitting in the corner. When the camera zoomed in on him, my friends let out soft gasps of admiration. "Ethan looks incredible today. Almost like he's the groom himself." Ethan had always been attractive, with his broad shoulders, slim waist, and impressive height. Today, he seemed to have paid extra attention to his appearance. His hair was styled meticulously, and even the gemstone cufflinks appeared carefully selected. Given our relationship, Ethan should have naturally been one of the groomsmen. However, Ethan himself had jokingly declined earlier, saying, "I'm way too good-looking. Everyone would probably mistake me for the groom." It sounded narcissistic, but it wasn't far from the truth. In any case, Michael had firmly objected to Ethan being part of the wedding party. Michael still isn't answering. My best friend frowned so deeply it seemed she could crush a mosquito between her brows. I gently patted her hand and spoke with absolute calmness. "In that case, let's just switch to another groom." Without hesitation, I immediately texted Ethan, "I'm getting married today but missing a groom. Interested?" The reply came almost instantly, "I can." The next moment, I watched Ethan quickly stand up on screen, hurriedly leaving his seat. 2 minutes later, Ethan appeared before me. My friends were completely right. He truly looked every bit the groom today. "Since Michael isn't showing up, I now need a new groom," I said bluntly. "I'm available," Ethan answered without hesitation. Our friends stared at us wide-eyed, completely stunned. I then called the makeup artist to prepare Ethan. Fortunately, he was naturally handsome, so 2 hours was more than enough for him to get ready. Next, I summoned my assistant. "Take down all the signs at the entrance and remove everything related to Michael. Any guests from Michael's family who don't have direct business relationships with us, send them away. Return their gift money." The assistant hesitated, cautiously suggesting, "Wouldn't that be too disrespectful?" But after a single glance from me, he immediately shut his mouth. Since Michael hadn't shown any regard for my dignity, I certainly wouldn't worry about his. Let Michael handle the embarrassment of dealing with those guests himself. I turned to look at Ethan, who was currently having his makeup done. When our eyes met, he smiled gently. "Are you nervous?" he asked softly, surprisingly finding time to worry about me despite being a last-minute groom. "Not at all," I replied calmly. "The wedding dress is beautiful, exactly how I'd imagined." The makeup artist, unaware that the groom had changed, continued praising how perfectly matched we were. "Call your family and have them come over," I told Ethan. "We still have 20 tables to fill. You'll have to figure out how to handle them." Ethan immediately started making calls. His parents had passed away long ago, so they wouldn't be able to attend. Ethan had inherited all of their assets, so his extended relatives had always been eager to curry favor with him. Now the opportunity had finally come. People in this circle were all shrewd. No matter how curious they might be privately, they would never openly show it. Thus, before the wedding officially began, wave after wave of guests arrived at the venue, each one dressed formally, holding gift money or presents in their hands. A few of my friends were busy at the entrance, registering gifts, their feet barely touching the ground. With only 20 minutes left until the ceremony, Ethan was already fully dressed, standing before me, looking remarkably dignified and impressive. For a brief moment, I felt as if I was looking at that spirited young man from years past. Ethan had always liked wearing white back then, and even now. Ethan's assistant walked in, handing him a box, which he immediately passed to me. His wedding gift was an extraordinarily exquisite diamond necklace, a show-stopping piece from a New York auction house a couple of years earlier, featuring perfectly cut square diamonds, and had sold for over $100 million. As soon as I put the necklace on, I clearly felt its weight on my neck. Ethan stood behind me, a satisfied smile on his face. "It suits you beautifully," he remarked. "Then I'll give you something as well," I replied, taking out a pair of diamond cufflinks and a matching diamond brooch. Ethan understood instantly, swiftly replacing his own cufflinks and carefully pinning the brooch onto his jacket. Standing side by side, we looked at our reflections in the mirror. The diamonds on the necklace and brooch sparkled dazzlingly. We did indeed look quite compatible, far better than Michael and I ever did. Just as I was silently marveling, a sudden commotion erupted outside the door. "I need to see Olivia. Let me in now." Michael's parents were anxiously stamping their feet at the entrance. All the other Zhang family guests had already been asked to leave, and they too had been unable to contact Michael, undoubtedly facing utter embarrassment. "Olivia, don't worry, we've sent people to find him already." As soon as Mrs. Zhang saw me, she hurried forward anxiously. But Ethan swiftly stepped in front of me, blocking her. "Ethan, why are you here?" Shocked disbelief filled the Zhang parents' eyes. I slowly spoke up in response. "Your son acted irresponsibly, so I've replaced him." Seeing as Michael's parents had always treated me relatively well, I reluctantly allowed them to remain at the wedding. However, the main table was reserved for my parents, grandparents, as well as Ethan's grandfather and aunt. The Zhangs could only sit at a distant table, craning their necks to see what was happening up front. Only after getting married did I truly realize how incredibly busy a wedding day could be. The meticulously planned banquet food, I didn't manage to eat even a single bite of it. After finally completing all the wedding rituals, I was starving. Ethan sat beside me, his large hands gently and patiently massaging my waist, instantly alleviating my soreness considerably. The final task of seeing off the guests fell entirely to the elders. I sat resting in the dressing room, so hungry that I felt I could devour an entire cow. As I waited for the servers to bring food, I picked up my phone to scroll absent-mindedly. As soon as I unlocked the screen, a headline immediately caught my eye. "Rising star Emily unexpectedly loses out, fails to win Best Supporting Actress." Surprised, I raised an eyebrow and clicked into the article. It turned out today's award had gone to another actress entirely, and Emily was unable to conceal her displeasure at the ceremony. Just then, my best friend's phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the caller ID and clenched her fist. It was Michael. I was absolutely certain that by the time he finally got around to making this call, his phone had likely exploded with missed calls. Yet instead of calling his parents or me, his first instinct was to call my best friend. I could already guess why he called. "What do you want?" my best friend answered, deliberately switching on speaker mode. Michael's voice came through the phone, barely suppressing his anger. "Sophia, why didn't Emily get the award?" my best friend immediately erupted. "Michael, you bastard. Today was your wedding. It was bad enough you didn't show up, and now you're calling me to ask about your ex-girlfriend's stupid award. Drop dead out there." There was a long silence from Michael's end before he finally spoke again, slowly. "I'll explain everything to Olivia later. But right now, just tell me why Emily didn't win." How the hell is that my problem? My family doesn't own the entire Pacific Ocean, you know? Don't think I don't know your family sponsored this damn event. Whether Emily won the award or not was just a matter of your own family's decision. My best friend fell silent, then let out a cold chuckle into the phone. Yeah, it was me. I just told the judges that I didn't like Emily. They understood exactly what I meant. You knew saying that would hurt her. What the hell were you thinking? I did it on purpose, she said flatly. You didn't even bother to show up to your own wedding today. So what exactly were you thinking? I could imagine Michael, on the other end of the line, furious and pacing. This is between me, you, and Emily. Don't drag Olivia into this. If you don't want me to bring up Olivia, then you have no right to call me. Who do you think you are? Barking orders at me like that? I only tolerated you for Olivia's sake. Otherwise, you can go drown yourself in the Pacific. With that, she hung up. My assistant stood hesitantly at the door, clearly unsure of whether he should come in. I motioned for him. Mr. Yan, when it comes to media coverage of today's wedding, let's go all out. I spent a fortune on this wedding. The least it can do is boost the company's reputation. Everything had been meticulously arranged, every detail tightly controlled, with the intention of elevating our brand's public image. That same night, the media exploded with coverage of what they were calling the wedding of the century. Press releases flooded every platform, pushing the story past all celebrity gossip and straight to the top of the trending charts. I specifically requested that the cover photo feature Ethan and me, just to make sure everyone got a clear look. The post had only been up for 10 minutes before Michael started calling. I ignored the call and hung up. He called 3 or 4 more times, and I rejected them all. Then he switched tactics and called Ethan instead. Ethan, who was lying beside me, handed me his phone. He looked like he couldn't be more done with Michael. There wasn't even a name saved on the contact. He's calling for you. Take it yourself. After everything that had happened, I was completely drained and didn't want to talk to anyone. I closed my eyes and answered the call. As soon as the line connected, Michael's panicked voice rushed through. Where are you? Why did you marry Ethan? What did you do? Now he panicked? Where was this urgency earlier? I sneered silently and signaled Ethan to deal with him. I was already sick of hearing his voice. Ethan let out a soft laugh and said slowly into the phone, Whatever you want to say it tomorrow. Yan is exhausted. We're going to rest now. The next second, Michael's furious roar blasted through the phone. But Ethan was faster and hung up before the outburst could continue. After getting rejected so many times, Michael must have been miserable. But I wasn't done with him. He humiliated me publicly. I had no intention of letting him live comfortably either. The next morning, Ethan and I got ready and drove to the Civil Affairs office. On the way, he held my hand tightly, his palm slightly damp with sweat. Are you really sure about this? You've asked me that 5 times already. Ask again, and we're turning around. Okay, I'll shut up now. He clamped his mouth shut immediately and sat obediently beside me. His driver was at the wheel, occasionally glancing at us in the rearview mirror. As we neared the entrance to the marriage registration office, the driver finally spoke up. Mr. G, about that trip abroad you planned for March 18th. March 18th? That's tomorrow. I instantly snapped my eyes open and shot him a glare. So you were going to ghost me the moment this was done? If that's your plan, then we're not getting married. But I knew full well it would be hard to find a better candidate than Ethan. No, I'm not going. Cancel the ticket, he said quickly. Got it, the driver replied, not daring to say another word. I was very pleased with how obedient he was. After all, if we wanted a good public image for the company, the CEO's relationship status would inevitably attract public scrutiny. Since it was a weekday, the marriage office wasn't crowded. By the time we finished taking photos and registering everything, it wasn't even noon, and the marriage certificate was already in our hands. Just as we stepped out the door, my best friend popped a confetti cannon, showering us with colorful streamers. Congratulations, she said with a grin. Yan is officially a married woman now. Wow, what a stunning newlywed, a few of my friends teased, laughing playfully. A lively group crowded around the entrance of the Civil Affairs office, buzzing with joy. Not far off, however, a certain man looked utterly dejected. I lifted my gaze and saw Michael standing under a tree, his fists clenched tightly. "Olivia, why are you doing this to me?" he cried out, rushing toward me, only to be blocked by several of my friends. "Hey, she's married now. Keep your distance," one of them snapped. "Quit buzzing around her like a fly," another added, not so gently rubbing salt in his wound. Michael stood frozen, fists trembling, eyes red. "Olivia, I already explained. It's not what you think between me and Emily. Yesterday was my fault. Please forgive me." I rolled my eyes and casually pulled out our freshly printed marriage certificate, waving it in front of him. That's when he switched tactics to emotional blackmail. "How could you do this to me? After everything we've been through?" Before I could respond, Ethan placed his hand on my waist and calmly said, "If we're talking history, I've actually known Yan Yan longer." Ethan and I really had grown up together. Back in middle school, he already had a reputation for being maddeningly perfect. By high school, he was dazzling, like a celebrity. Girls would walk across campus just to catch a glimpse of him. His desk was always piled with snacks, drinks, and breakfast, and of course, love letters. Funny enough, I was the one who delivered those letters for them. Most girls didn't even dare talk to Ethan, and he completely ignored them anyway. Maybe because we grew up together, he was always closer to me. Though he hated the love letters, he'd toss them straight into the trash along with the snacks and drinks. I'd clutch my chest dramatically, scolding him for wasting food. Ethan, always amused, would smile and say nothing. The next day, my desk would be stacked with snacks instead. Later, he went to study in the UK. During that time, I met Michael. My dad thought Michael seemed decent and honest, and since his abilities were average, even if he eyed our family's wealth, he'd never outmaneuver me. I didn't want a man who was too aggressive or dominant. My career was my priority, and marriage was optional at best. Michael looked good enough to display at home, and that was fine by me. But since he didn't know how to behave, I had no reason to keep holding on. Clearly, though, he couldn't accept that. He stared at the marriage certificate in my hand like it was the end of the world. "Olivia, don't be impulsive. Marriage is sacred." "Exactly. That's why I won't tolerate even a speck of betrayal." I cut in coldly. I didn't want to argue with Michael in public, so I turned and left with Ethan. My friends followed close behind. We hadn't even reached the car when I heard Michael's furious voice behind me. "Fine. Olivia, just wait. I'll make you regret this." I couldn't help but laugh. "You? Make me regret it?" That's a joke. Right now, I felt no regret at all. But Mr. and Mrs. Zhang? They definitely regretted everything. Apparently, the night Michael got home, his father chased him around the house, ready to beat him senseless. I had already pulled out of our business agreement with the Zhangs. Michael knew nothing about running a company. He still thought his family was a top-tier business powerhouse. But the truth was, after the economic turmoil of the past 2 years, their company had significantly declined. The Zhangs had been counting on me to invest after the wedding. When the date got close, I'd agreed to collaborate with them. But now that the marriage was off, that deal was naturally dead too. The Zhang elders began begging for favors everywhere. One of my colleagues, who had been managing the project, said his phone was practically exploding with calls. After begging fruitlessly for a week, Michael's father finally dragged him to see me. "Olivia, business may be off the table, but can't we still maintain a personal bond?" he asked. "We watched you grow up, after all." "With all due respect, sir, you met me when I was already an adult. And if you want to talk about honor, let's not forget it was Michael who broke that first." "So what? You never cared about Michael at all?" "Nope. If I ever did, it's long gone, fed to the dogs," I said flatly. "And as long as I have no morals left for you to leverage, you can't guilt-trip me anymore." Mr. Zhang opened his mouth to say something else when Michael's phone suddenly rang. I instantly recognized the ringtone. It was the custom one he had set for Emily. As soon as Emily picked up the phone, Mr. Zhang flew into a rage, practically stomping his feet. "What are you doing? You're still tangled up with that woman? Have you completely lost your mind? If you go to her now, I'll pretend I never had a son. Starting today, you're cut off. Don't you dare spend another cent of this family's money." Unfortunately, Michael didn't hear a single word. He had already stormed out of the office. How pathetic. Honestly, giving birth to a son like him might be worse than raising a slab of roast pork. Still, it proved one thing: Michael had his own agenda. He knew he couldn't get anything out of me anymore, so he turned around and went crawling back to Emily. The office fell into an awkward silence. Mr. Zhang stood stiffly, still trying to salvage the situation. "Olivia, listen to me. I promise I'll make things right." "That won't be necessary," I replied flatly. "Michael and I are over. He doesn't owe me anything." "You and Michael were together before, weren't you? You must still." "Mr. Zhang," I cut him off coldly, "are you seriously encouraging your son to try and steal me away now?" Before he could answer, the office door was pushed open and Ethan walked in with a cold expression. "Why are you here?" I asked, a little surprised. "I heard your company's working on a promising project that might be a good match for us, so I came to talk about a potential partnership," he replied, locking eyes with me. The second he did, his expression softened noticeably, and his voice lowered with a gentler tone. "But did we really have to do this here? Couldn't we talk about it tonight?" "Tonight is after hours," he said. "I don't want to discuss work then. Besides, I wanted to see you. That's why I came. You don't mind me dropping by unannounced, do you?" Ethan pulled over a chair and sat right beside me, even blinking playfully like a mischievous schoolboy. Honestly, he really did have the makings of a professional heartbreaker. John looked completely out of place, scratching his head awkwardly before silently walking out of the office. Later, when my assistant came in to report, he said Mr. Zhang had been dialing Michael's number on the way out. But Michael was stubborn to the end. That very evening, I saw a post from Emily on social media announcing that she was officially in a relationship. Emily was still in the rising phase of her career, so this move wasn't exactly wise. Many fans immediately flooded the comments in disbelief and disappointment. But Michael, of course, was thrilled. He even took a screenshot of her post and shared it on his own feed. "To have a woman who would give up everything for you, she's worth it all. Don't worry, babe. Whatever you lost, your man will make up for it." My best friend commented underneath with a snort. "Does your family even have any connections in the entertainment industry? From where I'm standing, you're better off in food service. That pie in the sky you're painting looks pretty tasty, though." Honestly, I was genuinely curious to see whether Emily would stick around once Michael's credit card stopped working and reality hit. I couldn't wait for the day he was flat broke. That Friday happened to be Ethan's birthday, so I decided to go gift shopping over the weekend. As fate would have it, we bumped into the happy couple themselves, Michael and Emily, at a luxury boutique. Emily was nestled against his shoulder, and the two of them were laughing as they strolled into a jewelry store. "Ooh, time for some fun," my best friend whispered, instantly dragging me inside with her. Thanks to years of six-figure spending at this store, the sales associates recognized us immediately. "Miss Yan, what would you like to look at today?" The salesperson greeted me warmly. Before I could even answer, my best friend jumped in. "She's picking something out for her husband. Show us what you've got." The saleswoman caught on quickly and immediately congratulated me on my recent wedding. That's when I noticed Michael and Emily had also spotted us. My competitive streak ignited on the spot. "Show me your most expensive pieces," I said coolly. Not to be outdone, Emily clenched her teeth and pointed at a jadeite bracelet. "Honey, I want this one." Michael's face turned pale the second he saw the price tag. Having dated him, I knew exactly the kind of man he was. Big talker, tight wallet. He'd never once given me anything remotely expensive while we were together. But I hadn't cared enough back then to notice. "Babe," he said weakly, "how about we keep looking?" "This one's kind of old-fashioned," Michael muttered, trying to cover his discomfort. My best friend couldn't help but burst out laughing beside me. "Just admit you can't afford it. No one's forcing you." Emily turned to glare at Michael, biting her lip as tears welled up in her eyes. Michael stayed silent for a long time before finally giving in and telling the salesperson to wrap it up. Thinking the show was over, my best friend and I turned to pick out Ethan's gift. But we hadn't even walked a few steps when the salesperson's voice stopped us cold. "I'm sorry, sir, this card didn't go through." We both froze and looked back just in time to see Michael's face turn pale as he pulled out another card. I'm very sorry, sir. This one's declined as well. Michael fumbled out a third card, and again, nothing. Each one failed, one after another. We stood to the side, watching in stunned disbelief. Meanwhile, I chose a gift and swiped my card in one smooth motion. As we left, I gave them both a smug little glance. My best friend leaned in and whispered, "Since going public with their relationship, Emily's already lost a few endorsement deals she had lined up. She thought the Zhang family would guarantee her an easy ride to the top, but turns out she backed the wrong horse." I gave the gift to Ethan that night. He stood there stunned for a second, not reacting until half a minute later. "Thank you. I have something for you too," he said, handing me a file. "No special occasion, and I still get a gift?" I teased. "You might find what's inside interesting." Just as I was about to open it, I noticed something on his computer screen. All the documents were in English. "Are you reviewing files from the overseas branch?" I asked, catching a glimpse of a personnel document on the screen. "Yeah," he said, closing the file with a casual flick. "The previous branch manager was transferred, so we're appointing a new one, but I had clearly seen that the former branch manager had left a month ago. It was impossible for a key role like that to be left vacant so long overseas. Something didn't add up." "Ethan, just be honest. Were you planning to move abroad?" He fell silent for a moment, which was rare. "Yes. I was going to leave after your wedding." Suddenly, it all made sense, the strange expression on his assistant's face the day we registered our marriage. "And were you planning to come back after that?" "Probably not. I just wanted to see what you look like in a wedding dress." Maybe I'd been too focused on work all these years and failed to notice the feelings of those closest to me. I'd grown up with Ethan, yet I never realized what was in his heart. That night, we stayed up talking for hours, and I didn't wake up until noon the next day. I was still in a daze when my best friend's call jolted me upright. "Why the hell are you still sleeping? Big news just dropped." "Who is it, Michael?" I asked groggily, forcing myself to sit up. "Yes, I just got word. Turns out the Zhang family has an illegitimate son. He's only a year younger than Michael. Until now, Michael thought he was an only child and did whatever he wanted. But now? Bet he's sweating." "Huh?" I mumbled, rubbing my eyes. "You're not surprised?" she demanded. "Don't tell me you knew already. Did you leak this?" "Nope, it was Ethan. He only found out last night while reviewing some internal background documents. Apparently, before Michael's father married his mother, he'd had a mistress. After realizing Michael's mom had money, he married her and kept the mistress hidden away. Even the younger son had been sent abroad for university. He'd only recently graduated and returned to the country. The Zhang men really did seem genetically wired to be jerks. I knew Ethan wouldn't just let Michael off easy." My best friend said with a grin. I didn't reply, but I was definitely enjoying the show. What surprised me most was Emily's reaction. She was the first to respond, immediately announcing that she was single again and claiming she'd been deceived but had now seen the light. The comments flooded in. "Congratulations on becoming single again, Emily." People in our friend group chat were in an uproar, openly mocking Michael. Emily wasn't stupid. She'd been counting on controlling Michael, thinking once she had him wrapped around her finger, the entire Zhang family fortune would be hers. But now, things had clearly taken a turn. Michael has a younger brother? He must have cried himself into a coma in some bathroom stall by now. Everyone in our social circle was watching the Zhang family's drama unfold like it was primetime television. Mr. Zhang, to everyone's surprise, openly acknowledged the second son and even hosted a banquet to formally introduce him. Not long after, I received an invitation. How could I miss such a spectacle? I immediately prepared an extravagant gift and decided to attend. At the banquet, everyone sang the younger Zhang's praises, how he graduated from a prestigious university and had unlimited potential. But I was the only one who noticed Michael sulking in the corner. The suit he wore was the very one he had prepared for our wedding. On him now, it just looked pitiful. Michael's mother's assets, all that she brought into the marriage, had long been taken by Mr. Zhang, and now she could do nothing but watch as the mistress's son officially took his place. Michael could only swallow his pride and bitterness. Our eyes met. His expression lit up, and he stood to approach me. "Olivia, I broke up with Emily. That woman is shameless. She lied to me, said she loved me, but... He suddenly stopped, realizing he'd said too much. Clearly, he remembered he'd once told me the same thing. But words are cheap. Why should I care what he once said? No, Olivia, please, hear me out. My feelings for you were real. Excuse me, Ethan interjected, walking over with a glass of wine, his hand naturally sliding around my waist. Is there something you'd like to say to my wife? Because whatever it is, I think I should hear it too. Michael went pale, veins bulging on his forehead. But I was supposed to be the one marrying Olivia. You swooped in and stole everything. What gives you the right? Ethan and I both laughed. After all, Michael was the one who ran off on our wedding day. And now he had the nerve to accuse someone else of stepping in? Well, Ethan said calmly, I have to thank you, Mr. Zhang, for giving me the opportunity. Really, thank you for stepping aside. Michael snapped. He lunged forward and shoved over the champagne tower, sending glasses crashing in a deafening wave. All eyes turned toward us. Mr. Zhang rushed over in a panic. What are you doing? Stop humiliating yourself. He grabbed Michael's arm, trying to drag him out of the venue, but Michael violently shook him off. What right do you have to lecture me? You betrayed my mother, had a mistress, and now you're parading your other son around like he's some prize. What right do you have to control me? Drunk and fuming, Michael swept everything off the table in one go. So you really did have another son. No wonder you never cared about me. In your eyes, what did my mother and I ever mean to you? Stop this nonsense right now, Mr. Zhang barked, trying to push him away again. That's when the younger son stepped out to separate them. Dad, calm down. Michael's probably just drunk. Michael glared at him. Don't pretend to be the nice guy. I know what you're really after. You want our family's fortune. The younger man shook his head repeatedly as Mr. Zhang stepped in front of him protectively. You're both my sons. The estate will be split equally. Why should it be? Some of that money belonged to my mother. Michael shouted. Right in front of all the guests, the two brothers started arguing with Mr. Zhang. I stood off to the side, thoroughly enjoying the chaos. Unfortunately, the crowd was too eager to mediate, and no one threw any punches in the end. The whole debacle became the hottest gossip in our circle for weeks. The Zhang family had already been in decline, but now, with infighting between two heirs, things had only gotten worse. I took the opportunity to begin quietly acquiring shares of their company. At first, everything was moving steadily. But then a major piece of land I'd been eyeing suddenly slipped through my fingers. It should have been a sure win, until a dark horse unexpectedly showed up. I immediately told my assistant to look into it. Miss Yan, he reported, Michael and his team offered a lower price than we did. The bidding had already been delayed multiple times. I remembered casually mentioning the property to Michael before our wedding. He must have remembered, and now he was using it against me. When I got the call, he had the nerve to play the victim. Olivia, please don't be mad, he said. I didn't mean to steal your project. You know how hard things are for me and the company right now. If I don't prove myself, Michael said, voice trembling through the phone, then who else is going to support me? I get why no one in the company stands behind me. With a boss who doesn't know how to read a room, it's only a matter of time before the whole company collapses. Michael, do you even hear yourself? I said coolly. I just called to remind you, don't think that winning the bid means you'll actually secure that land. In business, there are plenty of ways to compete. I didn't let go of a single flaw in Michael's project. I wrote multiple formal complaints to the relevant departments, and soon enough, investigators were showing up daily, requesting documentation. The approval kept getting delayed, and with it, the bank loans were never released. It didn't take long for the Zhang family to hit a financial crisis. Because of the wedding scandal, their credibility was already shot. Now, not a single investor was willing to lend them money. Apparently, people at Zhang Corp were against the land project from the start, but Michael insisted on taking it, trying to prove himself. Now, because of that same project, the entire company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Michael and his father had a massive argument right inside the office, shouting at each other until one stormed off. Sensing blood, I escalated my share acquisition efforts, hoping to take over the company as quickly as possible. With Zhang Corp hanging by a thread, Michael finally panicked. He even waited for me outside my office building. Bookmark. Olivia, please, give me one more chance. Leave Ethan. I don't care that you're divorced, I'll still accept you. I looked at him like he'd lost his mind. What makes you think you're in any position to accept me? And why the hell would I leave Ethan for you? If I went blind, that doesn't mean I've lost all my senses. Ethan, who had been walking just behind me, let out a quiet laugh. Mr. Zhang, he said, if you've got time to beg, maybe use it to take a long, hard look in the mirror instead of dreaming out loud. Michael froze on the spot, unable to speak. Ethan and I walked away. As we reached the building entrance, Michael's furious voice echoed behind us. Olivia, everything that's happened to me is because of you. I swear I'll make you pay. Always the victim. Never his fault. Michael had mastered the art of blaming everyone but himself. I sneered and tightened my hold on Ethan's arm as we made our way to the underground parking garage. Suddenly, a loud engine revved behind us. I turned at the sound, only to be blinded by high beams. Before I could react, someone shoved me hard to the side. The next moment, a car sped past and slammed straight into Ethan. Frozen in shock, I saw Michael's twisted face behind the wheel, filled with pure, unfiltered rage. By the time we got Ethan to the hospital, my brain had finally started to process what had just happened. My assistant arrived not long after. Thankfully, Ethan's injuries weren't life-threatening, just a fractured left leg and a cast. I tried to peel an apple for him, but my hands were shaking so badly I couldn't hold the knife. Ethan gently took it from me, his voice soft and steady. Don't be scared. I'm okay. He smiled, then set the knife down. Okay, if you're fine, then walk, I snapped, still overwhelmed. The doctor said you need rest. You're not allowed to put weight on that leg for weeks. What about Michael? He asked. The police took care of it, I said firmly. I'm not letting him get away with it this time. I never expected him to be this bold, ramming a car straight at someone in a parking garage. After the crash, Michael had apparently realized what he'd done, panicked, and tried to drive away. He didn't get far. The guards at the gate stopped him and turned him over to the police. Someone like him, so impulsive, he needs to learn a lesson, Ethan muttered. Oh, and you weren't impulsive? I retorted, lightly tapping the cast on his leg. What were you thinking, throwing yourself in front of a car like that? It was instinct, he said simply. I saw the car coming and all I could think about was pushing you out of the way. That's it. Even recalling it now made a cold sweat break down my spine. How had Ethan managed to react so fast? Or was it just pure instinct? And then, unexpectedly, I felt a twinge of gratitude toward Michael. Ethan noticed my expression and immediately dropped his smile. Gratitude? Toward him? Are you serious? Thank him? I only thank him for running away from our wedding. Because of that, I ended up with Ethan, the best partner I could have asked for. Even if it happened completely by accident. What started as a mistake turned out to be the greatest blessing of my life. Good night, I whispered,